My new mixer arrived! Yay! Welcome to my unboxing and review of the Mickle MK-GX12USB professional mixer. This isn't the first time I used a Mickle product. My first mixer was also a Mickle, which I bought almost a year ago. It served me well until I needed more input channels since my first one was only 6 channels. It was a Mickle MX600 USB BT. Another reason why I bought this new mixer is that of the capability to route and group your inputs, which is not present on my old mixer. The 256 built-in effects and a 2-channel 9-band equalizer are like a luxury since you won't be using them most of the time, but it's great to have whenever the need arises. Normally, you do not want to overdo the tone adjustments and the equalization when you are recording, but it comes in handy for playback. We now check the content of the box and see what else was included with the mixer. Of course, the seller snuck in a delivery receipt inside the box. And while I struggle trying to pry this huge thing out of the box, let us review the features as stated at the side of the box. So we have Bluetooth, and we have the capability to connect the mixer directly to a computer using a USB. I will demonstrate this feature later. We also have a digital display for MP3 playback. Of course, we have a phantom power for our condenser mic, a 2-channel 9-band equalizer. Each channel also have an on and off switch. Before I continue with the feature list, let us check the content of the box. The package contains the mixer itself, a sort of metal plate which I think can be connected at the top right side of the mixer to act as tablet or cell phone holder, an English manual, and a standard power cord or an IEC 60320 standard power cord, which are the same with those used on desktop computers. Continuing with our list, a built-in 256 DSP-FX processor, 4 groups of main output control, which I will also discuss in detail later. I'm not sure what they meant about this reduce noise function. So far, I haven't seen any standalone feature relating to this. We also have a 5-band effect level monitor. This is a volume level indicator at the side of the DSP display, which I will demonstrate later. We have a dual 12-band level display main output. This is also a volume level indicator. We have a record headphone monitor output. And finally, a 4-band tone control for each channel, which is actually incorrect. It is a 3-band tone control, 2 of which are static, and the third one is a parametric control. There is a high tone control, a low tone control, and the mid-tone has a parametric adjustment. So that concludes the unboxing, but not the conclusion of the video. Our next step is to plug this thing into my other audio devices so we can test the features. A word of caution before you power the mixer. Make sure you set all the volume sliders to a minimum, and if possible, also normalize all the tone and equalizer settings. Make sure you use a grounded power and a surge suppressor strip like this to protect your investments from electric surge and spikes. It is also recommended if you can purchase a UPS to protect them further. Once the mixer is powered, you will notice that there is a lot of light coming out of your mixer and it is quite bright. Depending on your preference, this may or may not look good. Personally, the light is too bright for me since I'm on a dimly lit room, so the light gets a bit overwhelming. If you noticed, one of the volume slider knob went off, but I was able to snap it back with no issues. It was probably pried off earlier when I was struggling as I tried to remove the mixer from the box. Next step is connecting this mixer into my other devices so I can demonstrate some of its features. I have now connected the mixer to my audio devices and configured most of the settings for our demonstration. For this demonstration, I will be using audio mix I made with Studio One for Professional so that we don't get into trouble with copyright violations. I prepared a USB with a couple of audio mixes I made, a mixture of WAV files and MP3 files to test the compatibility. I have it plugged at the USB slot and is now playing, but I set the volume setting to minimum for later demonstration. Let me first describe my setup. I have a 2 stereo input coming from my main computer, occupying a total of 4 input channels. These are my 4 input channels coming from my computer. The first input pair is for my background music. And the second input pair is for my desktop audio. For this demonstration, I have a music being looped at this input. Eventually, I will have a third pair used for my return feed from my OBS, but is currently not configured. Then I have 2 microphone inputs. This one is for my guest, and this one is for me. But right now, I'm using the guest mic since my own mic is mounted permanently on a stand and I need a bit of freedom of movement so I can point at the mixer while I talk. These are the phantom power switches. If you notice, my two inputs got the phantom powered enabled. These are my condenser mic. These are the gain control. This button is a low cut-off button. If you enable this, it will remove audio frequency below 75 Hz, or mostly the sub-bass tone. This part is the tone adjustment. One high tone control, one bass tone control, and the mid-tone control is a parametric control. This one controls the mid-tone volume, while this one controls the frequency response. This part is for sending your channel to an auxiliary output. And this switch is for sending your auxiliary 3 output before the fader. That is why it is called a pre-fader. It only affects auxiliary 3 control. This control is for sending your channel into the effects processor. And this is your pan control to assign or blend your channel into your left and right stereo output. If you will notice, here on my 4 inputs coming from my computer, this one has the pan control set all the way to the left, while this one has its pan control set totally to the right. Same goes with my other input channel. My mic input has the pan control set at the middle so that my voice will be heard from both left and right. If I pan this control into the left, you will notice that my voice slowly shifts to the left. If you are currently listening to a stereo sound system, if I pan it to the right, you will notice that my voice slowly shifts to the right. And then we set it back to the center again. Mic should have the pan control to the center. Then we have the on and off switch for turning on and turning off the channel. Some calls it a mute switch, but obviously this is an on and off channel switch because the light turns on when pressed and the sounds comes out when lit. If it were a mute button, the interface feedback should be reversed. It should light when the feed is off. We have here the sliders or fader controls, and at the side we have the peak control indicator to alert us if the signal is clipping. We also have the solo switch. And then the subgroup switches 1, 2, 3, 4, and the main switch. These switches are your routing switches for your subs and main. This is how it works. All the channels with 1, 2 switch on will be routed to sub 1 and sub 2 slider on this side. You can then assign which sub-channel will be your left and right. As an example, I will turn my 3-4 switch on my BGM channel. So it is currently turned on, the 3-4 switch, but the main channel is off. If I turn up the volume, you can now hear the output from my BGM channel, and I will be able to control this group simultaneously through this slider. So if I have this channel currently is set to main, but 3-4 is turned off. So let's put some volume on so we can see the difference. So you can hear two music playing at the background simultaneously. Look what happened if I turn down the 3-4 group. You will notice that my BGM channel got turned off. The sound coming from my BGM channel is now completely off. But the sound coming from my other input is still playing because we have the main switch turned on. This controls the main switch. So look what happens if I turn on 3-4 and I turn off the main. Then we set our sub 3/4 volume up. You will notice that I am now controlling this whole 4 simultaneously using this sub control. Another example is if you have a band occupying all 8 channels, 3 for the drums, 1 for the rhythm guitar, 1 for the bass guitar, 1 for the keyboardist, 1 for the vocalist, and 1 for the backup. We can assign them as a group. You will have these 8 channels. Switch the main to off and switch the 3/4 to on. You will then be able to control all these 8 channels simultaneously using these sliders. So after we have adjusted the individual faders properly to blend the whole band, we only need to use the subgroup sliders to adjust the overall volume of the band, which is more convenient than adjusting each sliders for each channel. We can then use another group for our MC or host for easier control over things. So if we have, let's say, 9, 10, 11, and 12 set for mic for our MC or host, we can set the 1-2 channel on all these 4 channels so that we only need to use the subgroup volume sliders to control the overall volume of the MC and of the band. Now that we are done with the channels features, let us check the special features of this mixer, namely the DSP-FX, Bluetooth, MP3, USB connection to the PC, and the equalizer. This is the Bluetooth control button. This is used to turn on and off the Bluetooth feature as well as to set the device into pairing mode. You cannot use the Bluetooth connection and the MP3 at the same time. This part is for the MP3 player. This part is the track number, and the numbers below it is the play time. At the right is just an indicator if the MP3 is playing or if paused. This knob controls the track number. It is a rotary encoder knob, so it can be rotated in any direction indefinitely. To select a track, just rotate the knob to the left or to the right, press the knob to pause or play the track. This button is the stop button to stop the current track from playing, and this button is the repeat button, which doubles as the shuffle button. The volume control for the MP3 is this slider or fader. You will also notice that the MP3 has its own volume indicator at the left side of its main LCD control. The knobs at the side are the tone control for the MP3 player. This is the high tone control, and this is the low tone control. Next we have the DSP controller. Here are the list of all the possible effects you can use. The DSP can be selected by rotating this rotary controller knob and pressing the knob to apply the selected effect. This knob controls the FX weight, and the slider down here controls how you want your effect to be routed. Just like other channel controls, you can send it to main, to subs, or listen it solo. Next we have the auxiliary controls. Basically, these are just the main control for all the auxiliary control on each of the channels. You will not hear any difference if we think with these controls, as it only controls the audio signal coming out of the auxiliary output jack at the back of our mixer. Next we have the equalizer. The button here enables and disables the mixer from being applied into our main output. notice there's a slight difference when I turn it on and I turn it off. I leave it off because I am currently in recording mode and we don't want to over-equalize our signals. Next we have the auxiliary return, which basically controls the audio signal connected to our auxiliary return jack at the back of this mixer. We also have the CD PC in control knob, which controls the input from our PC via our USB connector. Here is the PC USB connector, and it also controls the CD input jack at the back of the mixer. For demonstration purposes, I connected this USB jack into one of the computer running a game at the background so that we have a sort of sound input into our mixer. This group is for controlling how you hear things via your headphone connected to this headphone jack, or at the control room jack at the back of the mixer. This knob controls the volume, while this switch selects between hearing the normal stereo output just as it is being sent to the main output, or by switching to the groups to hear them exclusively. This switch selects which group you want to hear, either group 1, 2, or 3, 4. This LED indicator, labeled PFL or Pre-Fade Listen, is a visual reminder to the user that a channel has PFL on, so you will only hear the audio coming from channels with PFL on. That sums up my unboxing and review on this mixer, the Mickle MK-GX12USB 12-channel Ultra Slim Professional Mixer. I hope you enjoy my video, and if you like my video, please click the like button and the subscribe button to get more videos like this. I am also available for consultation via FB call or via Discord. You can find my contact information at the description below. Thanks for watching. Bye!